everyone, it's here. It's October, it's spooky season. I'm Shane, I write romance and romantic fiction, and today I'm sharing my October TBR, which is my Gothober TBR, because this year I am once again taking part in the Gothober Readathon hosted by Olivia at Olivia's Catastrophe, Hannah at Ladette M, and Tish at With Love Tish. I will have their channels linked down below, as well as the Gothober Announcement video from Olivia that gives you all the instructions on how to join. So the way it works is that you take this sort of online game and you get a list of prompts, and then from that list you can build your Gothober TBR. So first I'm going to share what my list of prompts were, and then we'll talk about some books that I'm thinking of reading to meet those prompts. Okay, so my first prompt was a book with a comfort trope. The next one was first in a new series, then multiple POVs, then we have secondhand, buried secrets, a cozy fantasy, and then the rest of the prompts are the standard prompts that they have every year for Gothober. A book with LGBTQ+ rep, a book with BIPOC rep, and a book with disability rep. So let's start with the very first one, which is a book with a comfort trope. Now, I will admit that I may not have a clear idea of what a book with a comfort trope means, because when I first saw this, I was like, oh, it's just a book that has a trope in it that I find comforting. But then I started to suspect maybe there's more to it than that. So I actually did a search for what is a comfort trope. And what I kept getting from my Google search was that it is a trope where one character gets hurt or needs comforting and the other one comforts them. And that's sort of how they bond and how the romantic connection starts. And I'm like, okay, that's a little bit more specific. So I have two options for a book with a comfort trope. The first one is Sweet Obsession by Katee Robert. Sweet Obsession is, I think, book 9 it's number 8, according to this. It's number 8 in the Dark Olympus series, which I have been reading from book 1. And I think this one would apply because this is the story between Icarus and Poseidon. And in this case, Icarus has been taken prisoner by Poseidon's faction, shall we say, because we're now getting, as the series goes on, we're getting deeper into the war between the two worlds. And Icarus, I think, actually was possibly injured in the previous book, so I think that qualifies as a comfort trope, because basically the way the romance happens is that Poseidon has to babysit and take care of his prisoner. And of course, as he's taking care of him, feelings develop. Yes! So that was a book I need to read anyway, because the very next book after this one is coming out in December. So that's only like 2 months away. So I think this one's going to work. And on top of that, if I read this one for the comfort trope, it will also check off the LGBTQ+ rep, because it is a gay love affair, or love affair between two men. So that is two male characters. So that is Sweet Obsession by Katee Robert. My other option that I'm thinking of for that one is Phantom by Greer Rivers. This one is a retelling of Phantom of the Opera. And I think similarly, the female character is injured, and then the male character who's like stalkery and obsessed, love it, perfect for spooky season, rescues her and takes care of her, and that's how their whole thing develops. It is it's also spicy. Well, I mean, Sweet Obsession is spicy too. All of the books in the Katee Robert Dark Olympus series are spicy. I mean, I think everything Katee Roberts writes is spicy. So either way, we have the spicy covered, we have the dark Gothic vibes covered, and we have, I believe, the book with a comfort trope covered. All right, next up on my list is first in a new series. So for that one, I'm thinking I'm finally going to read that book that everyone's read, apparently besides me. And that is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. This one is first in a series. It's one I've been hearing about for a while. It is about, here's the description. All I wanted to do was live my life in peace. Maybe get a cat, expand my spice farm. I mean, girl, same. Seriously. At this point, with everything going on, just want to be left in peace and maybe get a cat and expand the cozy things that I want to be doing. But alas, as is the case with all of these stories where the character wants to be left in peace, things are going to get chaotic. And that is where the demon comes in. I've heard that this book is funny and spicy, two of my favorite things in the whole world. So this might be the time that I actually read That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. I do have an alternate for this because as the month goes on, this is a tentative TBR. As the month goes on, who knows? My mood could change. My ability to get a hold of the book quickly might change. And also, I could run out of time and might start actually be looking at which book is shorter than the other one so I can get these books read. But my other option that I'm thinking is Black Witch Magic, which is also a book that I wanted to read anyway for my fall TBR. And that one's also the first book in a series. And it is about a librarian by day, cursed witch by night, who has to keep I think a ghost hunter or a paranormal hunter from uncovering her secret. So those are my two options for first in a new series, and bonus points because they're also BIPOC reps, so that would check off two things. Okay, next up, we have multiple POVs. So for that one, I'm going to do The Possession of Alba Díaz, another book that I had on my fall TBR anyway, and that one switches back and forth between the viewpoints of two characters, Alba and Díaz. That one is set, I actually have it right here. I got it from the library. It is set in, I think, 1765 in Mexico. A plague is sweeping through Zacatecas, so Alba and her family flee the city to go to where their family owns a silver mine. And there she meets Díaz, who works for the family that is in debt to hers. So his goal is to just get enough silver to pay off his debt. And her goal is to, well, of course, with her family, escape the plague, but also she is trying to make sure that her marriage that she has arranged for herself doesn't fall through. Because, and this is one thing that this author does, is a theme in this author's other stories. She really shines a spotlight on how women had very little, were in peril or in danger all the time of basically getting stuck in a terrible marriage, because they didn't have as much say over who they married as we might have now, because there were pressures such as money and status and family. So she does not want to get stuck with one of these creepy men that her family is trying to line up for her. So she arranges a deal with one of her friends that they will have a marriage of convenience, but they both understand it's a marriage of convenience, and they all both really like each other anyway, so they don't have to, number one, get married to some stranger that neither one of them wants to be stuck with, and they agree to give each other freedom. And there's an economic arrangement also built into this plan. So that's her plan, and everything gets jacked up when they escape to this mine, because there are other forces of antagonism that come up, including a secret that is buried in the mine. So that is why I am picking this book for multiple POVs, because it does go back and forth between her and Díaz. It is also going to meet the prompt for buried secrets, because there's something buried in this mine. It's underground, it's buried, it's a secret. We are good to go. So that is The Possession of Alba Díaz by Isabel Cañas. All right, next up is a book that is sort of rough around the edges, that is well worn, a secondhand book, shall we say, and I already have that one. I went and picked this up in one of my earlier vlogs, Rebecca. This is a book that I've been wanting to get read this year, and I had checked it out from the library on ebook, but I was making a ton of notes, and I was just like, I really want to just get hold of a hard copy and start making my little annotations and highlights. So I went to the secondhand bookstore and found this book, and as you can see, it is got tattered edges. The pages, some of the pages, like this one right here, is literally ripped. It is most definitely the worn, tattered around the edges, secondhand book. And I feel like there was something else I wanted to say about this, and now I can't remember what the heck it was. Oh, also, this book has been around for a while. I think this book, this book was published in 1971, so it has been around the block a few times. So that is my book for Secondhand, Rebecca, by Daphne du Maurier. Okay, what have we got next? We got Cozy Fantasy. Cozy Fantasy, we're going right back to that first in a new series. It's either going to be That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon or Black Witch Magic, because they're both cozy fantasies. All right, book with LGBTQ plus rep. We got Sweet Obsession for that one. And just in case something goes wrong, and I find myself at the end of October and still haven't read that comfort trope book yet, I might actually, as a backup plan, read What Feasts at Night, because it's a novella. It is by T. Kingfisher. It's a novella. It's the second book in the Sworn Soldier series, which features a non-binary or a trans main character. So that would work for the LGBTQ plus rep. Plus, I want to continue that series because I read the first book and loved it. So that is book with LGBTQ plus rep. It's either going to be Sweet Obsession by Katie Robert or What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher. Book with BIPOC rep. All kinds of options. Possession of Alba, Díaz. That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. Black Witch Magic. Yes, handled. And then book with disability rep. So the book that I have picked out for that one is Phantom by Greer Rivers. That book is the alternate for the comfort trope because it's the Phantom of the Opera retelling where he rescues the female character and when she's injured or in danger or something like that and takes care of her. And from what I have heard about this book, the main female character, has a panic disorder, which counts as an invisible disability. And I'm really interested to read that because I have an anxiety disorder and have had a couple panic attacks over the last couple years that had consequences. So I'm really interested to read a book about a character who has a similar disability. And also, the author of Phantom, Greer Rivers, is one of my agency siblings. So I really do want to read a lot of books by people who are authors who were in the same agency as me. So that is book with a disability rep. My option for that is Phantom by Greer Rivers. That's the only I think category other than the secondhand one that I don't have an alternate for. So I'm going to keep looking at other people's videos where they're talking about their Gothtober TBRs and see if there's any others that come up that have disability rep, just in case I don't get to Phantom. But I actually really do want to get to that book because I've actually wanted to read that since last year. Didn't get to it. So this could be my chance. All right, that is it for my October Gothtober TBR. Remember to like and subscribe and let me know in the comments if you're doing the Gothtober readathon this year or what books you're planning to read for spooky season. Until next time, bye!